They call me Nestor, but most people know me by another name. The last exorcist of Capis. I don't tell it to be believed. I tell it so that what is coming will not be repeated. Because if one day in the middle of a quiet night, your dog howls 3 times and then falls silent, maybe the thing standing outside the door is not the person. Capis scene, fog covering the mountains, flickering lights in the forest, dark shadows gliding across the roof. The narrative continues. I used to be a normal person. Had a wife, had children, had the simple life until that fateful night. The first night I saw it, no face, no shape, just claws and the smell of blood still lingering in the wine. Cut to present, Tatay Nestor, old, sitting in front of a wooden table, surrounded by amulets, a jar of tobacco, a pack of betel leaves. Tatay Nestor speaks slowly to the camera, or the person in front of him. Ningleson Junjun, he said, the world is now civilized, there is no more room for spiritual things. But the smell of Aswang, I still smell it. Every time the south wind blows through the coconut trees. There are those who do not believe because they have never seen it, but Capis does not need you to believe. Capis only needs you to survive. Flashback, Junjun was young, going into the forest with his father to find signs. Nestor's narration continues to be interspersed with images. That day, I took Junjun with me so that he would understand what blood had fought for all my life. On the bark of the tree there were hoof prints. On the ground there were black slime streaks. On the wind there were the groans of souls that had not been released. Junjun, yawn. Tay, Bella, didn't we call the police? Nestor, yawn. The police can't catch something that doesn't leave shadow. First tension, finding a torn animal carcass in the forest, blood still warm. Junjun, shuddering. Could it be wild boar? Nestor. Wild boars don't eat the lungs raw and leave the heart behind. And this one only eats when the moon isn't full. When it's full they eat people. Nestor and Junjun confront a reptilian humanoid hiding behind the foliage. Flashlight shines through the bushes, red eyes appear. Nestor roars. Junjun, don't draw your sword. If it hasn't attacked first. Suddenly there was a screech, the creature rushed past them at an incredible speed. That night was the first night I saw an Aswang in over 10 years of peace. And the last night I saw my son alive. I tell you this not to gain pity but to prepare you. Because they're back. I was not born to be a shaman. I was born to bury the bodies of people torn apart by demons. Capis, land of lost souls, where every shadow under the moonlight could be demon possessing a human body. Flashback, small village, Capis, 50 years later. Young Nestor, 18 years old, long hair, stubborn eyes, living with his mother, a babaylan, ancient female shaman. He did not believe in witchcraft, often skipped school to hunt animals in the forest. I used to laugh at those who believed in Aswangs. I used to think my mother was superstitious. Until that night, ye night tragic, ye night a lost faith. The sound of dogs howling. The oil lamp went out. Mother's voice echoed from behind the house. Nestor ran out with a knife and saw a hairy creature with white eyes staring at his mother. Blood spurted out, a scream and a horrible screech. He stood frozen, unable to move his feet. I only remember the smell of blood mixed with the smell of betel. Little mother used her last spell to push it out of the house, before she was no longer human. Funeral, people even come close. People whispered, she was eaten and Aswang, that family is haunted. Nestor buried his mother alone, the rain poured down, the sound of the funeral drums like the beating of demons. He began to research, reread everything his mother left behind, charms, herbs, ancient records. From then on, I stopped laughing. I hunted for things that made me skeptical. Backly ili present, TATAY Nestor, sitting in front a mother's altar. The altar is the only place with lights on in the house. Nestor is passing a new amulet, his hands shaking. Next to him is Junjun, his only son, looking at his father with a strange look. Junjun. Tay, it's 2025, do you still believe in these things? Nestor, softly, not turning around. The more modern they are, the easier it is for them to blend in. I thought they had but wings and were whistling. Maybe they're sitting next to you in the internet cave. Junjun studies at university in the city and returns to his hometown to visit his father. He wants his father to sell the house, move away, and live a peaceful life in his old age. Nestor just looked at the old picture, his mother, smiling with the amulet around her neck. Nestor, I wanted to forget everything. But there are things that, when you turn your back on them, will turn around and swallow your whole family. Junjun starts me change. One night, Junjun went out to smoke cigarette and saw a woman crawling on all fours, silently gliding across the roof. He screamed, dropped his phone, and his father rushed out with a rusty tabak sword. No one believed Junjun except his father. That night, I was no longer a city kid. I was the son of an exorcist. And for the first time, I believed that my father was not crazy. Nestor shaved his head and put on his old shaman's clothes. Junjun secretly brought boots, a flashlight, and a dagger. They began their journey to the western mountains, where there used to be a graveyard for the missing. When people do not believe in demons are more likely to exist. But Capis never forgets. And neither do my father and I. Mass animal death, village and fear. One rainy morning, the villagers gathered at the trail leading into the forest. The corpses of dogs, cats, goats lay scattered, their bellies were removed, their eyes wide open. They don't eat to live. They eat to send you warning. Nestor's voice narrated. A child said, I saw shadow flying over the roof last night like floating shadow. The villagers began to whisper, the Capis curse is back. The investigation begins, the demon hunting bureau reunites. Nestor, Junjun and Francisco, the older Albulario friend, who was once a herbal master, decided to investigate. Francisco is a calm, knowledgeable, old man with eyes as bright as a night owl. Francisco laughed softly. I thought my retirement would be drinking tea and reciting spells. I never thought I'd be hunting demons again. They entered the forest where the animal carcasses were found, carrying wooden katanas, leaf charms, oil lamps, black herbal powder. Strange traces van the forest, leaves shake as are crying. The forest was gloomy even though it was midday. There were no bird songs. On the tree trunk, there was a long, deep scratch that reached to the core. The torn shirt was caught on a high branch, still stained with dried black blood. Junjun. Hand, what kind of blood is that, the color of ink? Nestor, deep voice. It's not the blood of a living person. The atmosphere was heavy. Francisco threw some salt on the ground bubbled slightly. Francisco. Something is eating the spirit here. Meet Edgardo again, ye the ghost, ye passed. While searching for the way back, they met Edgardo, a middle-aged man, dressed in ragged clothes, with shifty eyes. He was an old friend of Francisco's, but had long been rumored to be communicating with demons to escape death. Edgardo, squinting. You shouldn't be rummaging through this forest. There's something that doesn't want to be awakened. Nestor. There's something worse than an aswang, a traitor. The atmosphere was tense. Francisco gently pulled Nestor back, whispering, he once sold the name of a witch to demons. That person was my sister. Strange illness, darkness begins to invade. Back home, Francisco coughs violently, his lips turning purple. His breath smells of rusty iron, symptom of the Yin curse. Nestor. It's not a cold. It's not a stroke. Something has followed him from the forest. They try to purify Francisco. Junjun uses a heart rate monitor. The index drops rapidly for no reason. Francisco, holding Nestor's hand. If I die, don't let me become one of them. Confronting Aswang, the first battle. That night, a screech is heard outside. Dogs howl, the wind changes direction. The crawling entity with arms and legs, silver-gray skin, long teeth exposed from its lips, clings to the roof. Junjun. Fuck. It's not human. Nestor. Keep quiet. Wait for it to come down. They ambush. But as they rush out, the aswang dodges all three, attacks Francisco directly, biting deep into his shoulder. Nestor stabs the aswang in the back with a knife soaked in black chicken blood. It screams and runs away, leaving a trail of black, steaming blood. But it's too late. Francisco collapses, whispering. Francisco, breathing raggedly. I've seen its face. It has a human face. Kill it before. I'm no longer me. Funeral and silence. Francisco is buried at night, without funerals, without trumpets, without drums. Nestor burns talisman around the grave. Junjun looked at his father, seeing tears in his eyes for the first time. They say Capis is the land of demons. But it's humans that scare me the most. That night, I lost more than just a friend. I lost the faith that I could protect anyone. And I know this battle is not like the previous ones. Encounter Ban Yili Forest, a battle, death. Nestor, Junjun and Bonito pursue new trail, an abandoned temple painted with blood and human bones hanging upside down. As they enter the deep forest, a light rain falls, the sound of insects suddenly stops. I heard of humanoid aswangs, eyeless, with long nails like knives, crawl from all four directions. Nestor whispers. Keep your distance, don't let them touch you. Their blood is poisonous. Junjun is separated when chasing a dark figure that calls out like his mother did in the past. A scream rings out. Soundless pain, Yi father falls. Nestor finds Junjun, lying in a pool of blood, his neck bitten through, his eyes still open. Nestor knelt down, tremblingly touching his son's face, his mouth moving as if he wanted to call his soul back, his hands trembling as he drew out talisman, but in vain. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought you along. Nestor carried Junjun's body through the forest like a man in a dream. Bonito ran over, stunned, and shouted. Impossible. And Adelaide. Confrontation, angry Vani breakage. Bonito with red eyes. Pele, couldn't you protect him? You're an exorcist. You killed so many demons, but couldn't even save child. Nestor didn't respond. Bonito pushed him against the stone tomb, shouting. You're weak. You should rest, let me avenge Junjun. Drunk, crazy, bloody. That night, Nestor was alone in the wooden hut. He drank the medicinal wine, burned the charm, cut his hand and wrote in blood on the wall. Kung di ko maprotektahan, papatayin ko lahat ng anak ng dilim. If I cannot protect, I will destroy all the children of darkness. He took a puff of the cigarette, looked up at the raining lilac. Oh mother, I am weak but I am not afraid anymore. Because my son died because believed that his father was strong enough. From now on his father must truly become the last thing the demons see. Rebirth, Vivi silent hears. Bonito stood silently from afar, witnessing everything. His expression gradually changed. He went to the oldest shaman in the area, asked to learn magic, practiced stabbing, throwing darts, making traps. The scene changed continuously. Bonito ran in the middle of the forest, practiced breathing underwater, burned charms at night, wrote charms on rocks. I don't know how to be a shaman. I don't know how to be a hero. But I know how to become a nightmare for the demons who killed Junjun. A silent parade ilig anti-Lilian. Junjun's funeral was held quietly, no one dared to come. On the grave, Nestor left the first knife he had ever used to kill the aswang, rusty blade, chipped wooden handle. Bonito quietly picked it up, put it in the leather sheath on his back. Nestor, if you go, don't look back. This is no longer a fight to survive. It's to make them unable to live. Ye source, be rage. From that day on, Capis no longer had an exorcist. Instead, there was someone hunting demons. Not for justice. Not for fame. Only for revenge. Clues from Tila missing, Navy countryside without lights. Bonito receives news that 3 small villages have been abandoned within a month. The inhabitants have disappeared, leaving only clothes and children's toys abandoned. Nestor reads the notebook his mother left behind, discovering a handwritten note smeared with blood. Children who are tricked never array when they are eaten, because they think they are loved. Bonito follows the talisman on the old roof tiles, discovering the symbol of an ancient aswang organization, Aninot Dugo, darkness and blood. Factory, a charity facility last disguise. Daytime scene, a food processing factory for the poor children of Capis, operates openly, run Eli, beautiful young businesswoman. But at night, the sounds coming from inside are not the sounds of machinery, but groans, muffled sobs, the sound of metal piercing flesh. Bonito whispering. Hands. I smell human blood but I don't see any bodies. Nestor. They're better. They know how to disguise themselves with charity. The two infiltrate through the tunnel behind the factory, discovering a room filled with dozens of dried fetuses, embalmed human hearts, raw materials to feed the new generation of Aswangs. Factory battle, fighting near flying men transforming. The workers turned into flying Aswangs, torn wings, half human, half demon faces, screaming deafeningly. Bonito threw salt bombs, several burned to a crisp. Nestor used his silver sword to cut an Aswang's arm. Blood splattered on the wall, making a pattern appear, the leader's symbol. A leader Aswang, with the ability to hypnotize, appeared. The look made Bonito almost stab himself in the neck. Nestor rushed out to block, got his claws pierced through his shoulder, and fell into the concrete wall, losing the advantage for the first time. Bonito saves people, a needle-like band near darkness. Bonito roared, used a small silver knife to stab the Aswang in the middle of the forehead, then pulled out a rope made of sacred hair to clamp its tongue. He turned his enemy over and whispered, "Let me give you taste of eternal silence." The demon screamed and turned into ash. Bonito ran to help Nestor out. Bonito grabbing his hand. "No one can die today. Not when I still carry Junjun's oath." Unexpected encounter, she's still alive. You live in longer human. When they thought it was over, a woman stepped out of the darkness, her gait soft, her eyes filled with tears. Nestor, shocked. Celia, smiling. "I never died, Nestor, it's just my soul was sold since you left." She was Nestor's ex-lover, who had disappeared more than 30 years ago. She said that she had volunteered to the organization to become immortal and touch the past forever. "Celia, I didn't kill Junjun. But if I don't warn the pack, I will die. Forgive me if there is still little Nestor left in your heart." Disappearing man smoke, yeah, unexpected question. Celia burned herself with a spell, dissolving into red smoke. On the brick floor, a sentence written in blood remained. "Not everyone who becomes an Aswang wants to be." Nestor sat motionless. Bonito stood behind him, clutching his knife, saying nothing. Outside, a long howl rang out, a signal, something bigger, stronger was coming. The demons are not just evolving. They are building an empire. And to fight them, we need more than hatred. Last lane, Evu's summoning circle. Nestor and Bonito follow the blood and ancient symbols to a cave hidden behind a sugarcane field, where the Hari ng Dilim resurrection ritual is beginning. Inside, Aswangs gather in a circle. Children's blood is dripped into a black stone sacrificial furnace. In the middle is the corpse of a giant demon, sealed away 100 years ago. If the ritual is complete, Capis will be nothing more than a name on a tombstone. Nestor. The people are tied around the cave as sacrifices. The moonlight shines at the right hour, the Ayla rumbles. Attack, the final battle begins. Bonito detonates remotely, the first shot blows up the stone gate. Nestor rushes in, chanting and slashing non-stop, black blood flying everywhere. The Aswangs know this is a life or death situation, so they fight like crazy. Some rally, others turn into smoke, some take the form of children. Bonito. They don't want to die anymore. Because they've tasted what it's like to be human. During the fight, Bonito's stomach is pierced. Eli, claw, he falls. Nestor screams, using a blood charm to burn his soul to call Hari ng Dilim out of the summoning circle, pulling it out where the moonlight can reach. The confrontation between Ni Moon Yeni Yi Ai, light yes darkness. Hari ng Dilim materialized, over 3 meters tall, with deer antlers on his head, his body covered in burnt red skin, his eyes hollow like black holes. Nestor stood in the middle of the burning sugarcane field, holding his ancestral katana, looking up at him. You were not born to be king. You are the product of abandonment. And I am the last sin of Capis. The fierce battle began. The moonlight illuminated the demon's back, blood splattered in fiery streaks. Finally, Nestor stabbed his sword through his chest, chanted the final spell, and both of them exploded in blue light. Silence after real storm, ye vows lang give a shadow. Bonito woke up amidst the ashes and the Aswang's corpse, blood all over his face. He dragged himself to the ground where only a handful of ashes, the broken sword, and the scorched remains of Nestor's amulet remained. In Bonito's hand was a small, blood-stained scroll, Nestor's last letter. Bonito, if you read this, I may have melted into the earth. But Junjun will be proud. Capis needs young men but not naive. Fight, though your soul trembles. A new era begins. Bonito stood before two graves lying side by side, Junjun and Nestor. He stabbed new sword into the ground, engraved with the words, Aswang Hunter Guild S. 2025. From today on, I am no longer an avenger. I am the one who guards the boundary between man and darkness. Epilogue, whisper ran till you wine. The eye gradually turned bright. In the wind, Nestor's familiar whisper echoed, as if echoing from another world. Fight, though your soul trembles,